Hey guys, Stealth here. Let's have a tactical. It is Tactical Tuesday after all. This tactical was sent in by Janiski, and he was trying to use a new and, let's say, different unit from what you're used to in the 10v10 tactical scene. He's going to be using the IKV-103. Swedish, I'm not sure if you're supposed to call it a tank destroyer or a fire support vehicle, but it rests somewhere in between. And he's going to be using these and seeing how effective it is. I've already seen the replay. You're going to be surprised. These things, they just kick ass, and you can buy an incredible amount of them. In case you haven't seen the IKV, they're about to spawn in, but he's not only using those, he's also getting the M41 DK1, 151 TOW2s, and here come the IKV 103s. These little buggers are 10-point vehicles. If they remind you a bit of, I think that would be... Oh, I've been a while since I played World of Tanks. The Stug, I believe. They seem to have a design that seems to be a bit inspired by the Stug. They're 10-point vehicles. They fire 7 AP rounds, or at least AP rounds with 7 rounds with 7 points of armor penetration, and these things are heat charges, which means that they will always be doing some damage. And if you have this amount of firing vehicles, I mean, just look at it. How it spawns this many vehicles in a 10v10. If you have this many vehicles, then that means that you're going to be firing a lot of projectiles, and you don't really need that many hits on vehicles. Even a super heavy is going to go down to 10 consecutive hits, as its armor and hit points just get casually eaten away. And you're going to need a serious heavy to chew through this many units. Especially considering that those two twos are hiding in the back and they can really lash out and do some damage. Now he's going to be going here. The IKV Madness is this way. We have War of Omission over on the right, as well as Karlolov towards the left. Let's say middle, we got Delta with his Nighthawk. Looks like Dead Seal is going to be trying and pushing all the way here. Ways to Eat Pie and Homoeroticism are going to Alpha. And I believe that they have the map covered quite nicely, which is a fresh change from what you see normally in these 10v10 tacticals, where one flank gets about 7 and the other flank is left to fend on its own. Now, Janiski is heading off. Of course, the TOW2 vehicle takes up his role as the group leader, being a wheeled vehicle. But here are the IKVs. Don't even bother putting an armor or ammo paint on them. Camo paint, it doesn't work. 1925 meter range, 20% accuracy, 7 AP, 3 HE, 7 rounds a minute, rate of fire. They can only fire while stationary. They don't have a stabilizer. They do have an area of effect, which means that they can be moderately useful against infantry. Autonomy is atrocious at 250, and off-road speed at 45, well, they're right on par with the British vehicles. So, it seems like a recipe for disaster. He's also had enough points left to buy supporting vehicles such as the RBS 90. Now, combined with these, I'd say he has a few more points than you normally get. Yeah, and this is why. There's 9 people on this team versus 10 on the enemy team. So this is a game that starts out with 19 players. And that means that Blue 4 is going to get slightly more points than usual. Anyway, first kill of the day. Not exactly sure what it was, probably, yeah, just a Ural, nothing special. War of Emission's pushing up, and we got some AA units coming in, as well as what might be a tank. Rover RBS is pulling back. The 41 DK is trying to spot, but the tree line is just too heavy, and here's the target. Still no positive identification, but there we go. T80 UK. All the IKV 103s are firing. And they're doing a decent amount of damage. Pushing up. Seriously, how do you stop this with what you normally have, which is 1 to 2 tanks? Aircraft coming in. Just an Su-27 PU and a MiG-31, so they're not really going to be that much of a problem. Doing damage against the T80 UK quite consistently. There you go. This thing is losing a lot of hit points, all due to those heat rounds. And I believe that it's the TOW2 who finally gets the kill. So, all of these cheap little buggers have managed to kill off a T-80 UK together. There is still a Concourse group, and there seems to be an OT-810 over on their left, which, considering the amount of firepower, is not going to be sitting there for much longer. You can see that because this thing only does 7 damage, it's not really going to be that lethal. You're going to need to put a few rounds in. Look at these. No more Concourse. You're going to need to put a few rounds into a vehicle that has 10 hit points in order to actually destroy it. So, with a bunch of very, very cheap vehicles, he has actually managed to push all the way through and is almost approaching Charlie. His ally, or allies I should say, are also pushing up nicely. War of Emission is quite happy that his Bradley can move without being hampered by a T-80 UK. He's also bringing in Marines. We got Karlov with Voskomjäger pushing over on the right flank. The thing that I'm worried about though is that these things are going to need fuel, and lots of it. They're already 2/3 through their fuel supply, and it's still a long way to get to Bravo, where we can see one fob, but you're going to need to get quite a bit more. Ways to Eat Pie is already confirming all the IKV-103s as a new meta. I wouldn't go so far, but it's definitely an interesting move. And I'm thinking that he might need resupplies at this stage. Now, one of the guys surrenders. Of course, considering it's a 10v10 replay, I cannot see who exactly has left. But it seems that Red 4 is starting to revolt against all of these vehicles. How's the left flank doing? It looks like these guys have the left flank nailed. Lots of this stuff is moving up. All the infantry seems to be in pretty healthy condition too. So much so that I doubt they have even fired a single shot. Yep, all of these guys have all of their ammo. In the meanwhile, the OT-810 is still there trying to push back on this large wave of Blue 4 forces. IKVs are trying to push up, but I believe it's going to be the Bradley. Yep, Bradley gets the kill. Scout Defender comes in to start spotting for all of these IKVs, which haven't moved an inch. And you don't want to have these guys move too much, because fuel supply. Their 250 kilometer autonomy is starting to come back and haunt him. Now, T-55 Dyna's coming up. Looks like it's holding over there. Would be nice if the Voskomjäger could spot them and then the Bradley could take it out. Although this thing is of course armed with an ATGM as well. But I'm not sure if they can actually spot the Bradley. Looks like they can. Bradley narrowly avoids the missile. Unfortunately for the Bradley, its missile is only 2600 meters, whereas the Dyna has a range of 2800. And the Bradley might be able to sustain a hit. I don't think so. I think it's going to be a one-shot. So it's time for Janiski to start moving up. If he can. Now these tanks can probably quite reliably one-shot any of these IKV-103s. I mean, 2 frontal armor, low range. They outrange them, they outgun them. And considering the amount of hit points, they are definitely a one-shot for a T-55, let alone a 64 BV. Those things have an even better gun, with a 9 rounds a minute rate of fire, which means that they could, especially between the two of them, quite reliably take out all of these vehicles. Yuyolf is bringing in a Super Stallion. Let's hope that that Tunguska has been taken care of, otherwise this helo is going to go down quite quick. Scout Defender is holding. It's probably the one who's currently spotting some of these tanks. But again, because both of these things are armed with ATGMs, none of the vehicles can move up until those things are dealt with. HKP-4A comes up, as well as Super Stallion. Another rover is being brought forward. There's a book, so no more options of providing air support for killing off these vehicles. But it seems that Red 4 recon is lacking. The T-64BV took a hit from what I believe to be the Bradley. Laro TOW 2 also rushing in, trying to get the kill. This is something, by the way, that I've always wondered about. I think that one of these vehicles, and I believe it to be the Bradley, has the wrong icon for the TOW 2. This is the standard icon for the TOW 2, It's a flat missile. This one has a spike on the top, or let's say on the right end of the icon, which I believe is the icon for the TOW, the ITOW missile. So you got the ITOW, and then the TOW 2, where the ITOW sits in the middle. And I believe that Eugen has messed up the icon for this vehicle. Anyway, just a bit of perfectionism going on. Now, as the BV is trying to beat a retreat, it seems that they have enough spotting capability to see the RBS here. It's definitely staying spotted, so that's a big problem. It means that there's recon close nearby. Looks like Johnny is not waiting for all of this resupply. Instead, he's pushing, which is quite curious considering that his resupply has just arrived. But it seems that he wants to get rid of this T-55 Dyna, and oh, two of them actually. Surprisingly, they cannot one-shot these vehicles. There's a 65-point kill. The TOW 2, the M151, killed off one of the Dynas. The other Dyna takes a frontal hit from a missile. The Bradley again putting a missile into it, and there we go. Super Stallion is trying to keep up with the push. All of these vehicles are worried or panicked. And looks like Johnny's finally listening to reason and getting these things resupplied before they actually run out and cannot maneuver at all. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if these things are actually very, very cheap to resupply as well. A couple of BTRDs coming in. That can't be a good sign. There's the resupply. And some of them... Why are they not taking on fuel? Oh, there we go. They're probably too panicked and too worried to actually take on fuel. Big shout out here to Yulf for resupplying this, as without him, none of this push would have been going on much further. You can see that they are taking a lot of supplies. They're only passing ammo now to the TOW 2s. RBS moves forward to take out the recon helo, gets another 40 points. Worf Emission wants to know if there's still AA. I believe that, as Dead Seal is saying, there is still a book here. And it seems that all those BTRDs contained a whole lot of VDV, which is quite the curious unit for this position. Because the VDV are only really good at short range. These things outrange them by about 1200 meters, providing that the Scout Defender can provide accurate spotting. They should have absolutely no problem in killing off the VDV. There we go. No more VDV. Now, consider this. One squad of VDV pays for 2 IKV-103s. That's how cheap these things are, compared to decent infantry such as VDV. Looks like Red 4 is trying to fight back. They do have 800 points, but Blue has control of, I'd say, about 80 to 90% of the map at this stage. A couple of missiles coming in from an OT-64. Unfortunately for Red, those things are horribly inaccurate. Looks like the T-64 BV is still fighting. Again, another squad of VDV bites the dust. There's another squad trying to fight back. IKV's having none of that. And one more shot. No? Yep, there we go. Killed off. Pushing forward. We need to get that the BV dead. One missile goes in. They lost another IKV-103, but there's already a squad of 4 more on the way to resupply and reinforce. Unfortunately, these 151s are again out of missiles. He loses another one. But even losing 1 or 2 of these things is only 10 points, it doesn't really matter. This looks like another T-64 variant. Kill. What are they firing at now? This thing looks like it has a decent amount of armor, and so much for the IKV-103s. Time to get the hell out of here. Kardelov is bringing in a command tank here to neutralize the income from Charlie. And so much for Red 4. Oh, it's a T-55 recon that's coming in. War of Emission saying don't suicide because they still have spotters. There's yet another CV on the way. And a couple of IKV 103s are coming in to help out. Unfortunately, it seems that the Red 4 players have too much firepower at the moment to reliably resist all of the IKV 103s. The 103B is trying to fight back against the T-55 and the BV. It is not going very well. He's taking hit after hit. He has to retreat. So much for the command tank. IKVs are again moving up. Takes a massive hit, but survives. They have to get closer. Look at that, these things are almost empty as they arrive on the front line. And Jarnar over here is playing it very, very clever. He's looking at his range and he's saying, well, I probably got way more range than you do. And aside from that, there's not much left of this tank. He's down to 1 hit point, so he has to pull back. Time to retreat. Yanni is retreating his IKV 103s, probably to get them a bit of resupply. And, yep, there's more of them coming in. All the way back here is a Lynx with a command infantry unit. Can Blue 4 make an effort on the left? They are pushing forward with Jaeger. They got their Hussars, which seems to have been in a bit of a skirmish. Now, the infantry here can one-shot the T-72 if it gets the first hit. If it somehow loses to... yeah, it might... oh, no, it didn't quite get the one-shot. If the T-72 gets the first shot off, then these guys are dead. Oh, they missed. Come on. Get the shot in. And they lost line of sight with the target. They're pulling back. No, he's gone. T-72M, again from Jarnak, coming in to reinforce the tank line that is slowly but definitely building up here. Yanni is now bringing his own Scania, probably to resupply all of the vehicles that are currently sitting back here. But it looks like, again, Uwolf has brought in a Super Stallion to resupply and reinforce all of these units. Blue keeps pushing. They're almost getting control of this town. A couple of Royal Marines as well as SCS move in. Get the town under control. Bradley skirmishing with the T-72. But the MLU from Ways to Eat Pie gets the kill there. Now, how much can these IKVs pull off? How much damage can they put out before they go down? Yanni has so far scored by far the most points on his team, so he's doing a great job at that. The question is, can he still get in range soon enough before those tanks one-shot those things one by one? Let's see what's going on. Nope, he's again pulling back. Not sure to what though, but probably resupplies. Scania has everything disabled. He's mostly feeding off of the Super Stallion. There you go. Scania is active. Trying to resupply. Fuel goes in. Now there's not that much that Red can do against this build-up at the moment. The only unit that I would consider to be effective would be an Su-25T. But it's an incredibly expensive solution to a pretty cheap problem. All these things are 10 points. Your Su-25T is 200 points. But if you kill this thing, you're going to be breaking even quite soon. The problem is that helicopters are not an option. The RBS-90, as well as other AA units and the DAP over on the right, will make it difficult for a helicopter to survive. Gripen tries to do a missile run, by the looks of it, but instead deterred an MiG-31 and shot it down. There's the DAP. I'm not sure what Warble's trying to do, but he's going to be regretting his choices here. Stinger's going in, hit on the Mi-28, and oh, the last one missed. He has one missile left here. Skyhawk stunning the T-55. And there's the kill with the other Skyhawk. Looks like the Mi-28 is pulling back, retreating towards the other flank in hopes of not getting shot down there. And this should give Yanni all the resources that he needs in order to push forward. Let's see if he's going to make use of this advantage that he has at the moment. T-64 BV fires off another missile, hits the 121. Missiles going in, looks like a Nighthawk kill. Yep, you all have got the Nighthawk kill on the T-64. That should mean that there are no further resistance groups as far as tanks goes up here. So Jeski is saying now, or Janiski, now we move, now we strike. Even the 121 should be moving up. Scout Defender moves. All of the IKVs are moving and burning a lot of fuel as they're doing it. As a question to you guys, what would you use if you saw this many units come up? It's a unit that has 2 frontal armor, not very good range, 1925, terrible accuracy, decent rate of fire at 7, a little bit of HE, a little bit of AP, fires heat rounds. What would you use from both the Blue 4 and the Red 4 arsenal? Your pick. What would you think be the best solution? And before you immediately jump to cluster bombs, consider that cluster bombs are only effective if units are, in fact, working in a cluster. If they aren't, then it's going to be more difficult to hit them. It looks like, talking about difficulty hitting them, that these IKVs are not really getting a lot of success against the Motostrelki there. So this would be a decent unit, but at range, the 103s will still win. Scout Defender comes up. Here's a Wilk, who just needs one more nudge. Oh, come on. Looks like the 121 got the kill. Keep pushing, ignore the tree line. It's not important. Block 5 from Karlov comes in with a cluster bomb. Looks like he's had enough of that Tunguska. The F-16 is going home with quite a bit of damage. There's the kill. I don't... or rather, I hope that he wasn't trying to hit the FOB with cluster bombs, because the FOB is, like infantry, completely impervious to cluster bombs. It just panics them. But FOBs cannot even be panicked, so I'm not sure why he was bombing that other than to try and get a kill on the Tunguska. IKV's pushing forward. He's lost 2 so far. Looks like we still got some ATGM teams here, which of course can take their missiles immediately from the FOB. There's another IKV-103 going out of action. Come on. At this point, a couple of cheap helos would be really, really useful. F-100D with the Hydro rocket pods comes in. Doesn't quite seem to get the target in time in order to do damage to it. There's one of the command units that's currently holding Charlie, but there has to be another one. Warbeat surrenders. IKV-103s still trying to get damage in, but they don't really seem to have a good line of fire at anything at the moment. Scout Defender moving up. Jarnik surrenders. That's the guy who's using all the tanks. F-100D. I don't believe it actually hit anything. There's the command unit. And it looks like Red might be hiding a command unit. Oh, look at that. They even captured the Super Stallion from Uolf. That's nasty. The Apache from War of a Mission says, nope, you're not getting that thing back. So immediately blows up the resupply helo with a Hellfire, which I think is a bit of overkill, considering that that thing was perfectly usable. Now, let's quickly go CV hunting and then have a look at the results screen, because I'm quite interested to see how well he did. I mean, he got 550 points, which is not bad for a 10v10 tactical. But was it worth it? Janiski, 573 points kills, 410 in losses. So while he did succeed in gaining a lot of terrain, it wasn't for free. He did lose quite a few of those units. Let's have a look. What did these things kill? Transports. It was indeed the 103 who got the kill on the T-80 UK. Thank you, heat rounds. Concours, Concours M, Rozvetkas, VDV, a decent amount of kill lists. You can see the biggest threat is currently coming from a vehicle. Or at least initially. Initially the T-80UK and the T-64BV becomes a big issue. Later on it turns into the Concours M, which are firing missiles that can one-shot those things and do. And you can see that they actually get quite a few kills on all of those poor IKV-103s. Anyway, that's it for this video. A bit of an unusual play with IKV-103s, but no less interesting. So I hope you enjoyed that, and if you have a replay that looks like this, where you're using unusual units in a 10v10 tactical, then please do send it in through the link in the description down below. Because it's videos like that, or replays like that, that make for the most interesting videos. So I hope you enjoyed, thank you for watching, and I'll be seeing you soon for more Wargame videos.